Lee Armstrong and Kamela Portugues are the talented puppeteers and puppet builders behind the innovative company Images in Motion, a pre to post-production studio that can mix and match live action, puppets, and animation. Images in Motion have created characters for such notable films as Being John Malkovich and television projects like Waffles and Mochi. Lee Armstrong was one of the puppeteers on the original production of Fraggle Rock, and Kamela Portugues' sculpting work can be seen in films like Monkey Bone and The Life Aquatic. In part one of the Swazzle Lunch Break, we talked to Lee Armstrong and Kamela Portugues about the nuts and bolts of running such a creative company. But the conversation started off with a visit from some feathery friends.
Have we made it? Are we on TV?
Oh, hey. I guess we should have known. We would have seen some characters pop in. Hello.
Oh, Sean and Patrick, so nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
It's lovely to see you, dears. Yes.
Oh, this is delightful, so exciting. Here in Sonoma. Who would have thought? I want to come up and visit you. Can I visit your workshop?
Yes, fly on up.
You got to fly on up.
Well, where are we going? Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah, bye.
Hey!
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Well, that was a very welcome surprise. Awesome. I'd love to hear, for anyone who's maybe not, I'm actually not even familiar with the beginnings. Like, how did you find this type of work? How did you start working with each other? Where did the company come from?
We met at a
Puppeteers
puppet festival in Santa Rosa, organized by Letty Schubert.
Wow.
So
In 1987, 6?
maybe
I
somewhere
was
around
still
there.
at university at the time, and I went down with another set of twins, the Ron and Brent Benyon.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So we were buddies up there, and we were doing stuff together, and we all came down, and Lee was doing a workshop because she was on Fraggle Rock, and I know this sounds so stupid, but I really had no cognitive spark that you can make a living as a puppeteer. I was just a hobby. It was nothing that, I just finished my master's degree. My parents were horrified. And I met her, I'm like, wait a minute, you make a living as a puppeteer?
I know, and I worked on Canadian television for 10 years before that, and I was the highest, I had so much money from working TV. I do not know why I moved to the States where it is so hard. Canada treats their puppet people as artists. You can get grants. I did 2 Canada Council study grants to do music and theater, went to New York. Life was easy. Anyhow, I moved here because the weather is so nice, and met Cam, and we just, I walked into her townhouse, and she was welding a camel for KMEL radio on her bed. The sparks were flying, and she had this torch out, and I went, wow, she is fearless. And then we have worked ever since. So we have been working together for over 30 years, and she's my best friend.
Oh.
You guys are like twins separated by.
Yes,
That's right. Yes.
Joined up later in life.
That's right.
So we kind of run a company together, and we sort of, maybe people don't know the behind the scenes, how things sort of split duties. I would love to hear a little bit about the operation of your company, how does it run? What's the, what tasks you guys each take on?
Kamela does all the work. Kamela and Kieran. Okay, we're very lucky. Kamela and Kieran do all the work. I manage the office. I know more about QuickBooks than a puppeteer should. And we try to puppeteer. So we have various, it always seems that paying work, we have been swamped in the last year. We're just like, we have too many paying projects. We're hoping we've got some little songs and
Did we
skits.
find the head?
No, we haven't found the
I think
heads.
the heads were over in the shop. These are
These are our
our
vultures.
vulture bodies.
Wow.
We're working on them.
We have heads for them, but I
Oh.
don't know where they went. So
And then
so these vultures, we have, okay, I've also branched out. I'm doing children's books, and
Oh, cool.
this is a really
Yes.
this is the
And this
we're
is
not,
the number 3 of
this is for the Chicago market. What's the show? I don't know. But anyway, this is
Toonie and Me.
this has got a really nice, really fun
Mechanism.
It's like, whoop.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's a really simple mechanism. It works so well, and it's just great. And it all flops and it's like, whoa.
Is that a little cable? Is that a cable pole, or what is the?
Yeah, actually, I've got this new little way of doing this and stuff, and they're really smooth and light.
Tell them what you use.
I'm going to tell you what I use. I use the thicker silicone bands that you wear, like Live Strong and all that.
Yeah.
So I've been using those because they're already in this nice, wonderful curve. They're very rugged, and you can add all of the little segments in there to create, and it goes right back, and it's so great. It just
Clever.
it
Very
works
inventive.
so well. We worked on a film this summer, The Stars
Clarinet.
Clarinet. The Stars Were Everywhere.
Working
I don't know when
title.
it's coming out for Apple, but we were doing just some little simple. I did these flowers where you have to. They wanted them to open and bloom, and I did them with that. It was like a super simple way, but they just expanded and
then we marionetted paper to float around
floating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yes, but it's just a really great. I mean, look at that! Look at all that action, and then it's
great.
very
Cool. That's
effective.
That's nice.
Swazzle will be doing it next.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
It works really great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
You guys are very well versed in a lot of the more, I guess, I would like higher tech puppet building things.
Some of it.
Sculpting.
Yeah, some of it.
Kamela is. I'm
well,
not.
But Kamela is quite a sculptor, and I know that when I first met you,
Yes.
you were hand sculpting.
Cam did a lot of celebrity dolls, and then the Bing John Malkovich marionettes.
And now you do a lot of sculpting in the computer, right?
Yeah, our big clients are really animation companies. And we have a full molding casting, and then one animation company, we maintain their 3D printing for them. And that's
which is Pixar, and I'm just going to say it.
yeah, we never use that name.
We don't, but you know what? We got credit in one of the films, so at least, I mean, we've been working with them for 20 years.
22.
22 years. And I did all of the for Onward, the last film they did. That particular one was all done, they did all that in the computer for the most part. There were some characters that were sculpted, but so I reassembled all of that data and then for the printing of them as well. So that was a huge
project.
undertaking.
Yeah.
So, there's that. It's not my, that's not a terribly creative, that's more technical, but it is something when you're doing 3D printing to make something watertight or, there's a lot of that element that goes into it, because for film, the polygon count of a wire mesh, that the figures, the characters, is off the charts because you have to have it big on screen. So I've learned a lot along the way, just by the seat of my pants.
I call her the Renaissance woman, and so she's just done it with tutorials. We acquired the 3D printers, and within a month, she and her husband Kieran knew how to repair them.
And that's a big thing.
Kamela, I would love to hear a little bit about your sculpting, because I remember in San Francisco when you were working on the film James and the Giant Peach. And I remember touring that studio. It was just like a wide-eyed, like, oh my God, this is incredible. It was the old Skellington Productions back in the day.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. I would
really
love to hear
exciting.
a little bit about that experience working on a film like that.
Well, I've worked on 3 films with Henry. I worked on that one, Monkey Bone, and Life Aquatic. And so those were all, working with him was amazing. And I love stop motion, and I like anything practical. I will tell you that there's a place for puppetry, always will be, in stop motion, and just that art form. I like the fact that it's maybe not necessarily symmetrical. The shiny, the 3D, all of that stuff. I'm just, it's so saturated now, and it's so pervasive in the whole market. And I think puppets are always going to have a place. And I like the fact that working practically on the stop motion, because they subsequently went to 3D printing. So all of that stuff went to a 3D printed. So Coraline, that was all done 3D printing. and it's the same machines that we have too, but it turns it into more of a 3D world rather than that stop motion, hands-on, hand sculpted. You know, you look at something like Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The pixelation of the furs and all of that kind of stuff does not bother me. I think it adds to the charm, and I love that. I mean, I just think it makes a more accessible and a connected sort of visual, for me anyway.
Because you were, like, for the grasshopper, for example, in James the Giant Peach.
Right.
You would sculpt like replacement mouth. That was using replacement.
Do we have time? I can probably run in and get a few samples.
Sure.
Here, you talk and I'll be back.
Well, yeah.
Why not?
The faces were, those were all the replacement parts for all of the mouth and all the expressions. And there was 110 roughly bug pin tops that had to be placed in there and matched. So you had to do frame by frame on all those. And he had, the most heads that I had to sculpt was for, I think, Monkey Bone. That was 300 and some heads done for that. And also the Marilyn Monroe scene, if anybody sees that film, that one was all one-off. And that one was, we didn't even have time. I mean, I did all of those very quickly. And, but it was, I love stop motion. I would love, if time is our there's always so many things to do.
Time is the only resource we're not getting any more of.
Yes, and here's an extreme. I don't know if it's blowing out a little bit. Here's the Monkey Bone. This was just the little head, and then
I feel like
this was.
Give a little shout out to this movie because I don't know, has it hit cult status yet? But
I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was so. I think it was ahead of its time in some ways.
Yeah.
You know,
And its opening scene was just brilliant.
And what about that incredible model that opened up?
Yes.
Yes.
Wasn't that amazing?
and this
And it
is
had
so-
live puppetry, costumes, stop motion, CG animation.
Exactly. I mean, it was really, I think, very innovative. And, I don't know. I was thinking about watching it again just because.
Well, and being John Malkovich has
Same.
definitely become cult. We've done a number of interviews on that. Actually, we've got one in the corner.
Yeah, and that film there, at the time we had 1 month
Oh
to
my
create.
God.
1 month. I don't think people
To
realize
create seven
seven
marionettes and sculpted, mold, cast.
I'll just say, because we're on the building and the performing side, so
Right.
we've also experienced, I feel like the last call is to the shop. Like, I guess we need a puppet for this commercial.
Gosh,
or
yes. They don't know you. You do pull them right out of your butt, don't you?
And also,
It's
there's,
like, yeah.
No, that's when we call you guys and go, hey.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. but seriously, it's
Anyhow,
like
we've had some crazy timelines.
we've had it very crazy. I did the commercial for that one, which it was a beautiful puppet. It looked like Jay Leno. What was the show? Rubio's.
You were stringing it on the way to
Stringing
LA.
it on the way to the LA. But that one was beautiful. And that was radio controlled, marionetted. It had moving on. I mean, it had all these. And that one we had, oh man, I didn't sleep for at least just 1 week solid, but it was like, and with it, the designer costume and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, people have no idea what it takes.
yeah, oftentimes we
this
talk
off.
about as like each puppet you're building, it's almost like you're building a prototype for the first time.
Oh,
like,
every time. It's
you're
always something
testing it on
different.
set. You go, let's see if it
Sure.
works.
I mean, there's basics. You've got your basics, but there's always going to be, it's like doing it the first time.
Join us for part 2 of our conversation with Lee Armstrong and Kamela Portugues, where Kamela Portugues discusses her work with the Society for Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, and Lee Armstrong reminisces about meeting Jim Henson and performing on the original production of Fraggle Rock. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Swazzle Lunch Break.